Hello everyone. Today I'm working on couplers. I just got this F3 and it's pretty nice. This is something, I understand completely. People will take these apart to clean them and then they can't get the couplers back and then they'll just put the thing on eBay to sell it, and that's the end of that. Look, we've all been there, we've all been frustrated, and that's what happens. So this one, look at the condition it's in. Like, I am sure it's a good runner. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna clean it, but I'm gonna clean it in a very quick and easy way. So to do that, you have to remove the shell, and removing these shells is not obvious, but once somebody tells you, it becomes easy. So there's tabs. Basically, the porthole windows hold the shell together. You'll see once I got it apart, it becomes obvious. There's little tabs under here. Just gotta pry under, separate the windows from the body, and you gotta remove the coupler. So that's already been done for me. Half the job is done. I've got my replacement coupler on the table, so that won't be too long. There's a special spot for, I use toothpicks. You can use a little screwdriver, whatever you have on hand. And I might be able just to get it to go. No, you need one more just to get under that last little porthole window, and then it becomes loose. We're almost there. See, that top one is loose. Let's see if I can get the back one to go. I just have to get into that little hole, and then I'm free. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Now we're free. And then I'll show you exactly how the porthole windows hold this together. Just like so. So you just have to pry them. And it'll release the frame. So let's be lazy today. I am going to clean this, but I won't take it all apart. I'll just remove the fuel tank. The fuel tank's easy to remove. Just remove the fuel tank and this cover. We won't need that to clean the engine. And then I won't remove everything. I'll just loosen these two little screws. And I won't loosen them all the way. I'll loosen them just enough so I can wiggle my trucks out. So that is a little tip. Let's say this engine runs fine, which it probably does. You don't want to take it apart completely. You just want to get in there and clean your wheels. You just need a little slack. Get in there and clean your wheels. I just need a little slack, just enough to come in and wiggle my my frame around. So you can see these two little boxes there on the top. The two little boxes is what holds your trucks together. So if you can wiggle them out of there, these two pins hold your trucks together, then you can have them free here. This plate that holds my truck in is probably enough to block me from doing that. So today I'm going to do one with the original Rapido type coupler, and we'll do one with the new style micro trains. So that probably runs 100%. It's very clean. But I'm gonna put a drop of lubrication since I got it open. And that will be that. And that should be way enough. Just 4 drops. Now this is the old style. It does not have arrows, but it's pretty obvious which way it goes. I mean, the coupler goes towards the back, and then the front rock will go the opposite like that. That's not too hard to figure out. There's ways to clean the wheels without taking the engine apart, but I like doing this, so I take it apart. How I do that, I put my nail on the little tab, and then I'll push with the screwdriver, and that will bring the little metal side frame out. The frame of the gearbox, it'll bring it out, and boom, I have everything in my hands, ready to clean. Look out for this little strip here. That's pretty easy to lose. The engine will run without it, but I would much prefer just to do a good job. Boy, this is very clean inside. Hardly anything to do. I am gonna take this with my toothbrush and some dish soap. The same with the shell. It doesn't have a ton of dust, but just here around the horn. So I'm gonna remove the 2 horns and I'll clean this up. It's in good shape, this unit. When I'm done and I have the coupler replaced, it'll be just like brand new. Boy, oh boy, that sure hits the spot. Even though it looks black, it really is the Brunswick green. So alright, I'm going to clean this with my rag. They have a little bit of lubrication on them, so I'm not cleaning this with my my toothbrush. Not like the side frames, because I think these will run great, just like that. No need to do anything. Then just put everything back together. I always start with the 2 frames. This, I think it has lubrication already on it. That's why I'm not touching it. So I always start with the 2 frames, put them together, and then the little contact pin, also I don't clean them. I'll just run my finger over them, and that's enough to get the lint that's on there. So that goes like so. Just like that. And then you bring in the other side. And then you bring in your wheels one at a time. The wheels will hold that pin in. And then the other wheel. And then I double check to make sure I got the little contact strip where it's supposed to go. There, beautiful. And then I start bringing in my side frames. Usually the side frame, it will line up the little contact strip. If it doesn't work, that's happened to me a couple of times, you can use a little screwdriver to put it back. I've done that a few times. So this, I have to direct that to where it should go. So this is the opposite of taking it apart. You just guide it here to where it should go. And to check on both sides, everything looks good. Now I can see my little contact strip is not, there's 2 little pins where it sits. I can see it's not in there. So I'm going to take my little screwdriver and I'm going to guide it in. Actually looks all right. Then test it with your finger. You should feel no resistance whatsoever. Yeah, everything looks good in here as far as I'm concerned. These here are the little pins where the contact strip should sit. It just goes in like that. Over here, and it just sits on there and it wipes the electricity from the wheels. You can see it through the cracks a little bit. They line up, it's pretty easy to get them lined up, but just to think about it while you're doing it. Yeah, this one it just lined up perfectly as I put it in. So, but just be mindful, maybe it needs a little tweaking. You can get in there with your screwdriver. So this one also no resistance whatsoever. So when I put everything back together, I'm gonna go try it on the track. Of course, on the bench, everything works pretty good, but the real test is on the track. So I just put the front truck with the gears opposite from the back one. Also, there are little engine cradles. They look like donuts really on each end of the flywheel. So those, just make sure they're lined up properly. Doing it this way pretty much ensures you'll get it right. You don't have to worry about it too much, but since I have it in my hand, I just prefer to check. So let's just retighten that. And we'll put all the little covers back. Put the little covers back, the fuel tank. The fuel tank has a different size pin, so you cannot really put it upside down. It only goes one way. That's some nice stuff that Kato does, you know, makes it easy for you. Put this little cover. May as well put this back also for the coupler. If you have a B unit, it's the exact same type of a cover, except it just it's square because the car body is square. That's the only difference. So this one slips in there. That looks great. Let's go try it on the track. All right, so let's see what we got. That is quite a change from the Bachmann stuff. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. Now I can work on my couplers. What makes it more difficult is the couplers have to be done with the shell on. So that's an extra difficulty to something, honestly, that's a little bit hard anyways, you know. N scale's very small. You know, you do the same job in HO scale and it's no big deal. But because N scale is so small, it becomes hard. So you line up your porthole windows and then they will hold the shell in place. And you don't have to fight too much. See, I'm fighting here because my little plate is not properly installed. That's another tip for you guys. Anytime that you're fighting with this, don't. It's because you're doing something wrong. Go back and check. You shouldn't be fighting with any of this stuff. Okay, so yes, the coupler, it has this part here which will hold the coupler in place. You have this part here, which is your little spring. So that's very important. So it goes over and under the pins. That I have to do it under magnification because it's very small. That there's no other way to say it. It's very small. I'll do it under magnification. It goes over and under the pins, and then the coupler will come and sit over here like so on the shaft, the little shaft. Just like so. Yep, that's the correct angle for it. So yeah, so that just goes under here. Goes under here like that, and then the plate goes over. And that too, I don't know if I can do it on camera. It's so small. Very tough to do it right on camera. But I'm gonna try it for you guys. These F units, it's like the Olympics of couplers. It's not easy. And it's gonna go like so. So I have one finger holding it in place, and then the other hand bringing in the coupler. And I can't see too well what I'm doing, so it's gonna be luck if I get it. Sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's skills, but I will tell you, luck never hurts. I think I got it in. Now I just have to snap it in place. And that too. That's another difficult thing. To just snap it right in place where it goes. So close. And that's why this engine was put on eBay, and I have to do it on the magnification. I have to see what I'm doing here. But I'm halfway there. Now I have it lined up properly. Should go right in there. And that's it. Perfect. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to do the micro trains one. But before I do, I'll just show you this. This unit came with the instructions, which is nice to have. Very nice to have, just in case you're looking for this. For the part numbers. The part numbers are a little bit hard to get now. Kato still makes parts for F3s and F7s, but the parts are for the new style with the DCC friendly version. The DCC friendly version is actually super nice. Super nice engine to have. And then you can see the cover of the box has a little bit of leftover price tag. So I'm going to clean that with some auto wax. That makes a whole bunch of difference. It's a small thing, but it makes the box appear shinier. So very satisfying to do. So this one, just like new now. This one, it's an F7. It's a custom paint job. The guy did a really good job. I mean, I love the paint job. Custom number also, but it doesn't match exactly the other Kato units that I have. So I'll be putting this up for sale. The auction is going to begin on February 18, 2023 and end on February 25, 2023. So if you're watching this video later than that, sorry you missed out. So this, you have to take the shell off, because we're going to modify the little plate here in the front. You cannot enter the coupler that way. You have to wiggle it in from behind, and this little plate here gets in the way, so I'm going to remove all the plate from the engine, and I'm going to cut that off. So first we're going to remove the shell, exactly the same as before. Then we'll modify that so I can get in there. And then I'll do the back one the exact same way. Come on. There we go. And then use gravity as your friend. And then we can wiggle this out. Wiggle this out. Come on, wiggle your big toe. There. And then I'll just cut this off. Just like so. Think about that. That's good quality plastic. That thing's been on there forever. And it's probably 30 years old. It's good quality plastic. You also need to drill a little bit to put your screw on. You could be lazy and just have it glued together. So I'm going to remove the porthole windows so we can have the shell in and out easier. These come out. This is the F7. It's different from the F3. You can tell that it's F7 because the fans are shorter and there's grills here instead of the F3 grills. Look a little bit different. So now I can just take it on and off very easily, just to measure things out. Let's see if I can wiggle this in place. Probably. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm still not 100% sure. Let's see if it can be done. Doesn't look good. I'm going to remove the magnetic pin just to see if that's going to help. Yeah, you can't bring it in this way because it's too big. So you have to wiggle it from behind. Looks like that's going to work. Although that too, it pays to take your time. Almost there. So these are the couplers that I like to use. You can see the part number right there. So these work very, very well. You cannot wiggle it past. So what you gotta do is take your coupler apart, put the box over here, and that might take a couple of different tries, but you got to put your box down. Put your box down and then bring in your coupler. Which looks like this. Bring in your coupler. And then bring in the second part here, which looks like this, and your little spring, and then the top of the box. I mean, I've done this before, but it's not easy. And then you bring the top of the box, and then you bring in your little screw, and then you button everything up like that. Now, I've done this before. It's really hard to do. I'm gonna simplify my work a little bit. I'm gonna use this, which is an Accumate coupler from Atlas Locomotive. And there's no spring, so it's a lot easier to work with. It's still gonna be tough to put it in there, but it's gonna work. You do exactly the same thing. You put your box in first, and then you put the two couplers, and then you can swing the top of the box second. Last to box everything back up. But before I do that, I'm gonna make a little hole. I've got to make a hole for the screw. So I'm gonna use my my jeweler's drill bit and make a little hole on this section here so I can screw in my coupler. So I'm using the bottom of the box as a guide. This is 0.9 millimeters, the size of the drill I'm using. If you don't have a jeweler's drill like that, get one. They have a million uses. So that's going to take a while. I'm drilling through plastic. It's not very, very hard to drill through plastic. But that's going to take a while because I want to be very precise. So I'm going to work on that off camera. 0.9 millimeters was exactly the right drill size for the micro trains screw. So I'm going to be using that. So every time you want to remove the shell to work on the drive, you have to go through that. I've got a set of well-built couplers so I can know which orientation to give it, because that's happened to me a few times where I got confused there. So that's got to come in like that, just to be 100% sure I got the proper orientation. So that comes in. Comes in, sits in here. A guy could use 3 hands to do that type of work. You could also, I've done that before, you know, rather than drilling and using a screw, a guy could just glue it in place. I've done that before. But every time you want to work on the drive system, you got to remove everything again, so that doesn't make it easy. that's starting to look good. Gonna bring in the little door. Double check again, my orientation is good. You could use again the Accumate box, and you could use the Bachmann Easy Mate couplers. The Easy Mate couplers, I've used them before. I like them. They're a little big, but if you're using a lot of Bachmann freight cars, they will work with the Bachmann stuff very well. I have a nice DCC RS3 in my collection, one of the newer ones, and it has the Bachmann couplers. And they do the job. I have to line up my little door. It fits in there, it's very tight. Very tight. I'm gonna check the height also while I have everything set up. I got a pretty good workbench set up. Everything is ready. It's a little low, but it will pass. How it works with everything looks very nice. So that's it for that. That's gonna be ready to be put on sale. I put the brown coupler on this SD40. That is such a nice looking unit. If you put the brown couplers on a light colored engine, they'll look black, but on this one, which is black, you can tell the color difference right away. So that's swell. And this is another engine that I won in another lot, and it's awesome, this engine. Look at it, brand new. It did not do well in the auction simply because it's a B unit, and without the A unit doesn't look too cool going down the track. But I have the A unit, so I can use this. I'm gonna clean it up. It's pretty much the same process as the Pennsylvania A unit. Very, very similar process. I'm gonna find my other toothpicks. So this, as you can see, has its original, still has its original Rapido type couplers. I'll just use my little screwdriver to make a little door, so to speak, for my toothpicks. There, that should be great. And then this one, the B unit doesn't have horns. And apparently a B unit by itself can move on its own. There's a throttle lever somewhere and a control panel somewhere. I don't know for sure. I just saw a video that mentioned that. So I'm going to do the same thing as the other one. I'm just going to remove the fuel tank. Remove the fuel tank and loosen the screws. I'll loosen them quite a bit. You can see the the patch here is square because that will fit the car body. So I can wiggle the trucks around. Just maybe loosen this one a little bit. Oh, you know what's getting in the way? That little patch. That is not really hard to remove. Just have to pry on the frame and boom. And now I'm free. So I'll do the same thing. I'll check my motor cradles. Check that they're in their proper place, which they are. And I'll put just a tiny little drop of lubrication on there. So I'll just clean the wheels and we'll be ready to go in no time. It does not look dirty. I still have to do it though. OCD, I guess. I mean, everything goes together, right? Clean wheels keeps your track cleaner. So everything goes hand in hand. That thing, it feels like brand new. That was a good purchase. Wow, look at this thing. My rag doesn't even get dirty. All right, let's put everything back together. Once you do a couple, it gets easier. The couplers never get easier. Well, I suppose they do. Can you imagine that being your job, though? Somebody in Japan or in China, that's their job, putting couplers together. Obviously, you would develop mad skills. But for sure, you're tired at the end of the day. So that everything looks good. I can bring in the side frames. There's a little hole for the gears, so you cannot put them together wrong. Well, maybe you can. My frame's in the wrong spot, so I gotta restart. If you gotta restart, it's no biggie. And you don't restart from the beginning. So let's do that. Let's just put one corner in, and then I'll bring the other corner in. Let's do it like that. That looks good. That looks good. And I'll check that my little pins are in their proper place. Ew, that does not look good. You can see I put my little contact strip over here on the side there. Try to get a different light on it. But it is not where it should be. So I gotta restart. It's not super obvious, but the contact strip is in its little pins. And then you check it with your finger. That also tells you a lot. You should be feeling no rolling resistance whatsoever. But that thing, this engine was in good shape to begin with. So I'm gonna do the other side off camera. So I'm gonna put my fuel tank back. And I'm gonna put, oh wait a minute, I better put my my power trucks on before I put the fuel tank back. That would make me look way smarter. Fuel tank and the little thingy. And then we'll test it on the bench just to be sure. I haven't tightened my screws yet, but I want to be 100% sure that this runs. Oh yeah, so nice. Excellent. Now I just gotta tighten these. Yeah, if you want to do the overhaul on these, clean the wheels in a quick way, that's all you need to do. Just loosen the screws a little bit, wiggle the power trucks out, and you're good to go. So if I were smart, I would go test it on the track before I put the shell back on. But I guess I'm just really excited to go play with my trains. And that, oh, this is gonna be long. If I put one side and the other side fall like that, that's gonna be a long day. There, that one's in. Then we'll put the other one in. There we go. So I keep it like that. They should hold there just by gravity. Oh, there is a front and a back to these. Don't forget. Basically, the dynamic brakes here. So that would be the front of it. And this is room for a steam generator, which this one doesn't have. So I was putting it on backwards, asking for trouble. But there you go. Saved myself a lot of headaches. Like I said before, if you find that you're fighting with something, go back and check. You shouldn't be fighting at all. So now I'm going to put that together with my two other A units and we're going to have a nice train. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly had fun making it for you. See you soon.